et Adonai On page 148, about halfway through the Hebrew or the transliteration, if that's what you use, you'll find the words Borei Yom Valayla, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, V'choshech Mipnei Or. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla. Golel or mipnei choshech, Golel or mipnei choshech, V'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, Golel or mipnei choshech, Golel or mipnei choshech, V'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night turns to day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 150. Ahavat Torah, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Alken Adonai Eloheinu v'shachmenu, v'kumenu na'asiyach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu. Uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'avatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olami. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. On pages 152 and 153, we have the Shema, followed by the Ve'ahavta. I invite you to prepare yourselves for these words of Torah. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kibroth Shem Kibroth Malechuto Leolam Leolam Vayed. And you shall love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be upon thy heart, shall be upon thy heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. And thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and when thou risest up, thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes. Thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates. May remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. Standing at the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way through that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We're going to couple Micha Mocha on page 158 with Miriam's song on page 646. So you might want to get that page ready as well. Ready? Micha Mocha ba'el Adonai, Micha Mocha negar b'kodesh, Nora tehi lo dosei pele, Nora tehi lo dosei pele. Malechut shehara'u banecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze'eli anu ve'ameru, Ze'eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai lo Leolam Vaed. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang our history. With every thread and every strand she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she danced toward the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea. The wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle, we're gonna dance tonight. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. We continue now, taking it down a notch from Micha Mocha and Miriam's song, very raucous. Now to our most ancient of Hebrew lullabies, Hashkivenu on page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom, Shalom, V'hamideinu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei Shabbat Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Picking the pace back up, our joy at Shabbat, the Shamru on page 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. B'nei Israel, Oti leolam, Oti leolam, V'shamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם בריתולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתולם. And now we come to the central portion of our evening prayer. The Chatzi Kaddish, the Cheker Kedusha, the Tefillah begins on page 164 and continues over the next few pages. Adonai sepatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tobim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Levi Gula Libnei B'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Lozero Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Nezra Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv Haruach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechakeh Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol B'Rachamim Rabbi, Somech Noflim V'Rofeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Mishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Mito Melech, Melech Meimid U'Mechayeh, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, v'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue on the bottom of page 173. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week we continue. We live under the tyranny of things in space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to the holiness of time. It is a day on which we are called to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bir'ah na'avod. Page 177. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you set in place? What are we, humans, that you are mindful of us? We mortals, that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulechana'el lehodot. Page 178. Shalom Bal Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Shalom Bal Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon L'kol hashalom V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael B'chol v'chol sha'ah B'shlom echad. Shalom Bal Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Shalom Bal Yisrael Amcha Tasi Leolam. Tasi Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai mevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a moment now for silent prayer. You might use the words on pages 180 and 181 or the meditations of your own heart. Yehiyu l'ratzon imrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri v'goali May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and redeemer. We turn our thoughts now. I don't have my lists. 1 second. While I grab the list, put any names in the chat of those for whom you are saying a prayer for healing. We are praying for Mary Kennedy, Rosalind Cantu, Mike Haug, Lori Perry, Nick Joliot, Ariel Batsluva, Rhoda Wessler, Marion Finkel, Skip Cathy and Jeffrey Brace, Rhonda Butler, Ricky Grant, Shoshana Bat Abraham, Minna Dornfeld, Juliette Origi, Leslie White, Ann Cohen, Charlotte Birch, Anita Ash, Joseph Matter, Daryl Swan, Steve McGrew, David Nemero, Chet Fitzchandler, and Dylan Redman, and Jane Compton, and Mrs. Kennedy. We hold in our thoughts all those in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. The Misha Berach is on page 371. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Imotenu, may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Ba'avotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Many nights we pray with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will. You will when you believe. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proves in vain, hope seems like the summer birds too swiftly flown away. Yet now I'm standing here, my heart so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will when you believe. Asher al Adonai ki goga, Asher al Adonai ki goga, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nachita b'chaftecha amzug alta, nachita b'chastecha amzug alcha, Ashira, 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 Ashira Ladonai ki goga, Ashira Ladonai ki goga, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nachita b'chastecha amzug alcha, Nachita b'chastacha amzug alcha ashira, ashira, ashira. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe? Somehow you will. Somehow you will. You will when you believe. Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Beshalach, in which the Israelites go forth from Egypt, from Mitzrayim, the narrow place, into freedom, into the great expanse of the wilderness. Just before Moses uses his miracle staff to part the sea of reeds, the Israelites' angst over the encroaching Egyptian army and the barrier of the water ahead, they are certain that they will die. The Lubavitcher Rebbe counts possible reactions to this terrifying moment, to any moment through history and in our personal lives in which we may feel trapped or stuck. He says one possible reaction is, let us cast ourselves into the sea. This means to create our own insular communities, protecting us and ours from the godless world out there, turning our backs on what makes us afraid. At the other extreme is the reaction, let us return to Egypt, let us accept reality, recognizing that it is futile to imagine that we can resist, much less change the way things are. A third reaction is to wage war against them, to assume a confrontational stance against the hostile reality, battling the ungodly world against all odds. And a fourth reaction is to say, it's wrong to abandon the world, it's wrong to succumb to it, and it's wrong to violently fight it. The answer lies in dealing with it on a wholly spiritual level. A prayer can achieve more than the most secure fortress, the most flattering diplomat, or the most powerful army. The main act of this parsha, of course, is the Song of the Sea, when all the Israelites spontaneously and simultaneously burst into song at their excitement and relief of liberation, gratitude and praise to God. Despite all their fears, anger, and stubbornness, they are willing to be led forward on a path towards something wholly new. And they participate in this prayerful moment with their whole hearts and voices. Now, I imagine, I'm not alone here, that many of us are feeling trapped in the narrow confines these days as we approach the year mark of quarantine. The vaccine rollout has continued slowly. Our country is in a moment of transition where the way forward is still kind of in its baby steps. And many times in recent weeks, I have felt the need to get to a more expansive wilderness, to sing with my whole heart and voice. But I live in a very busy commercial neighborhood, and the walls of my apartment building are not soundproof. So Friday night's the only time I get to sing out loud. And I am self-conscious about it every time that somebody's going to come knock on my door and tell me to keep it down. So I'm a bit stuck in between and left to find other ways to let my spirit fly free. One of the most important outlets for me has been video calls with groups of friends, including friends I may not see often, even if there wasn't a global pandemic. The general feeling of angst throughout our country, along with the recent ubiquity of Zoom calls, people more comfortable with that sort of thing, has led to reconnecting with old friends or being in group calls with friends I previously maybe only talked to individually, one-on-one. So last week, I Zoomed with a group of friends I've known for 20 years, including one of my friend's mom joined our call. She was our stage manager at the youth theater group where we all met, so it was funny to have her join in the reminiscences. And then the following day, I used Google Meet to video chat with some friends from college. It was so necessary to have those two calls. The power of community support cannot be overstated, and it is also on full display in this week's Parsha. After the Israelites cross through the sea on dry land and they make it to the free wilderness, they find themselves under attack by the Amalekites. Whenever Moses holds up his arm, well, his staff is really what he's trying to hold up, the Israelites prevail, but when his arms drop, the Amalekites overtake them. So Aaron and Hur literally hold up his arms for him. It's a truly beautiful moment of physical support so that Moses can continue to offer the support of his miracle staff to lend to the fighting Israelites. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe continues the commentary I mentioned earlier by telling us that there is a time and place for each of the four responses to a situation in which one's divinely ordained mission in life is challenged by the prevalent reality, which feels like an awfully apt way to describe this past year and the indeterminate future. There are times when we need to retreat from the world, from our fears, from the difficulties of the profane acts of life in order to recharge ourselves. And there are times when we need to roll with the punches and work with the broken systems we are given, go along to get along, or we might drive ourselves crazy with the impossibility of changing reality completely or immediately. And there are times when resistance is necessary to fight against injustice or to defend ourselves. But all of these are best done with a song and a prayer, with forward motion, with faith and intention. And when you move forward, says the Rebbe, you will see that insurmountable barrier yield and that ominous threat fade away. You will see that the prevalent reality is not so prevalent after all, and that you have it within your power to reach your goal, even if you have to split some seas to get there. So, may your seas split. May your song carry you forward. May your arms be held aloft by friends and family who love you. And may we soon all find ourselves free of the narrow spaces. Amen and Shabbat Shalom. Standing at the sea, Micha Mocha, standing at the sea, Micha Mocha, standing at the sea, Micha Mocha, freedom's on our way. Freedom, 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 freedom's on our way. They're coming up behind, Micha Mocha, they're coming up behind, Micha Mocha, they're coming up behind, Micha Mocha, freedom's on our way. We're bound no more, Micha Mocha, we're bound no more, Micha Mocha, we're bound no more, Micha Mocha, freedom's on our way. Freedom, 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 freedom's on our way. The sea she parts, Micha Mocha, the sea she parts, Micha Mocha, the sea she parts, Micha Mocha, freedom's on our way. We're walking through the water, Micha Mocha, we're walking through the water, Micha Mocha, we're walking through the water, Micha Mocha, freedom's on our way. Freedom, 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 freedom's on our way. We're on the other side, Micha Mocha, we're on the other side, Micha Mocha, we're on the other side, Micha Mocha, freedom's on our way. One God, Micha Mocha, one God, Micha Mocha, One God, Michamocha, freedom's on our way. Standing at the sea, Michamocha, we're standing at the sea. Michamocha, we're standing at the sea. Michamocha, freedom's on our way. We're singing and dancing, Michamocha, we're singing and dancing, Michamocha, we're singing and dancing. Michamocha, freedom's on our way. Freedom, 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 freedom's on our way. And now we turn our thoughts. We turn toward our concluding blessings. The Aleinu is on page 586. Please prepare yourself for this blessing. Aleinu v'shabeach l'Adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us in body, but remain with us in spirit. As I read the names on my list, please feel free to add names in the chat, those for whom you are saying Mourner's Kaddish this week. Today is the 29th. This week marks a yahrzeit for Renee Shumsky, Jack Mandel, Marilyn Simon, Stephen Leon, and Irene Buher. And we are still within the year of mourning for Paula Cooper, Ernie Weissman, Sandra Lenag, David Avery, Art Rich, Jason Brown, Louis Petrozello, Gary Lyons, John DiNicola, Arizona Breeding, Fran Warona, Rick Grossman, Aura Alva Leon, Sharon Buell, Mona Mandel, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Patricia Michaels, Joe Davis, Kathleen Schindler, Jamie Bellitz, Neil Savage, Ann O'Neill, Bruce Schechter, Bernard Strassner, Ruth Sherman, and Louis Aaron Honig. All those who have died of COVID as well, of course. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Mourners and those who wish to join them may rise. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah. Ba'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chaye echon u'v'yom echon. U'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'imru, imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, amen. All right, now is a good time for you to go grab your challah and wine, your grape juice and cookies, whatever you are making motzi and kiddush over this evening. And while you do that, I will give you some announcements. Tomorrow evening at 7:30, there will be streaming Havdalah on Facebook and Instagram. Sunday at 10 a.m. is the religious school Zoom. We are cooking this week, so remember, parents, you need to be on the Zoom calls with your kids. And I sent out, between myself and Debbie with the e-kibbutz, there were recipe or ingredients lists a few times, so hopefully you are prepared. Sunday at 1 is Adult Ed. We will be studying the book of Ecclesiastes, or Kohelet, as it is said in Hebrew, which is, I think, actually easier to say. Ecclesiastes, is that even really English? Is that helpful? I don't know. Kohelet, Sunday. Sunday afternoon is also the Jewish Islamic Dialogue Society's annual Leadership Summit. So if you are interested in attending and haven't registered yet, do let me know and I can send you that link. I will be attending in and out throughout the afternoon as the rest of my schedule allows. Thursday, Torah study continues. Next week is the first of the new month of February, the Gregorian month. So next Friday night, 7:30, will be Yoga Lelu, Meditation Shabbat, and next Saturday morning there is a Shabbat Shacharit on Facebook and YouTube. I think that's all that's coming up immediately. Book club picked for its new book, Bee Season by Mila Goldberg. So if you would like to join this month, read that book, and we will meet at the end of February, the last Wednesday of every month at 10:30 a.m. is generally when we meet. Purim's around the corner. Mark your calendars. The last weekend in February. And that's all I got for right now. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim. Can you tell I polished my cup today? I got some silver cleaner wipes. Still a little tarnished looking, but it's much better than it was. And I tried a new challah recipe. This isn't even the whole batch. Look at this giant fluffy challah. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Tevon. I think I got challah crumbs in my uke. Our closing song comes from the Haftarah. We've done a lot of Song of the Sea songs tonight. Now to close us out, here's Devorah's song. Arise, arise, Devorah, arise, arise, and sing a song. Arise, arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabarishir. Devorah the prophet was a judge in Israel. She sat beneath her palm tree on a hill. And people came from everywhere just to hear her judgments honest and fair. Devorah the prophet, Devorah, a mother in Israel. Arise, arise, Devorah, arise, arise, and sing a song. Arise, arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabarishir. Devorah the prophet was courageous, strong, and wise. Her people lived in peace for 40 years. The 12 tribes lived together as one for the first time since the world had begun. Devorah the prophet, Devorah, a mother in Israel. Arise, arise, Devorah, arise, arise, and sing a song. Arise, arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabarishir. Arise, Devorah, arise, and sing a song. Arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabarishir. Devorah the prophet, a woman of fire, a torch in hand. She led the Israelites to victory. She led Barak said, Devorah, I cannot fight unless you are standing right by my side. Devorah the prophet, Devorah, a mother in Israel. Arise, arise, Devorah, arise, arise, and sing a song. Arise, arise, Devorah, Uri, Uri, Dabarishir. Uri, Uri, Dabarishir. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a wonderful, restful next 24 hours, and I will see you at Havdalah.